Now let's go to the third part of the lesson. I click on this back arrow again and go to the previous page of the website. Let's create a new project. Click on New Project and name the project as Project 16C. Click on the Create button here. Now you have entered the project. Now we are going to create the Mark the Spot game. Just like the games we have created before, you little ones will love this game too. First, let's create the necessary variables for this. I click on Variables and click the Make a Variable button. Let's give the name of this variable as X and click the OK button. For the next variable, click a Make a Variable button again and name the variable as Code. Now let's click the OK button. OK. Now let's create the code. First, let's see what happens in this code. A randomly chosen number of degrees between 0 and 360 is assigned in the X variable. An LED lights up in the microbit according to the selected degree range. Accordingly, the player needs to guess these degrees and rotate the microbit. If you guess it correctly, you will get points for it. Now let's randomly assign a number of degrees in X. I drag a Set Score To code block under Variables into the OnStart code block. Click on the arrow in front of Score and select X. Drag a Pick Random code block in the map for the value here. The value is given as 0 and 360. Since the score needs to be 0 at the beginning, let's drag the Set Score To 0 code block in the variables here. At the start of the game, a message saying Go should be displayed. For this, a Show String code block under Basics is dragged here. Let's give the text here as Go. OK, next is to turn on an LED corresponding to the randomly chosen angle. For that, let's drag an if-else code block into this forever code block. This code block needs to be arranged as if, else, if, else, if, else. For that, I double-click the plus mark below this else. OK, now in the if code block for the first condition, a code block with the and sign in the logic is dragged here. Let's drag a code block with the equal sign under logic to the left side of the and sign. I click on the arrow in front of the equal sign and select the greater or equal sign. Drag an X code block in the variables to the left side of the greater than or equal sign and give 0 to the right side. Drag a code block with the smaller than sign in logic to the right side of this sign. Drag an X code block in the variables to the left side of this smaller than sign and assign 90 to the right side. If the number of degrees assigned to X is between 0 and 90, the LED at the position 40 needs to be lit. I drag the plot code block under LED into this if code block. Let X be 4 and Y be 0. OK. Now we need to create the code for the cases where the number of degrees is between 90 and 180, between 180 and 270 and more than 270. For that, we can duplicate this condition for the else if parts. I right-click on the code block with this condition and duplicate it. The duplicated code block is dragged for the condition of the first if-else section. Let's change the value here to 90 and to 180. If the number of degrees assigned to X is between 90 and 180, the LED at the position 44 needs to be lit. I drag a plot code block under the LED into this if code block. Let's give 4 for X and 4 for Y. OK, I once again right-click on the code block with this first condition and duplicate it. The duplicated code block is dragged for this condition of the second else if section. Let's change the value here to 180 and here to 270. If the number of degrees assigned to X is between 180 and 270, the LED at the position 04 needs to be lit. I drag a plot code block under the LED into this if code block. Let X be 0 and Y be 4. Next is the else scenario. If the angle is more than 270 degrees, the LED in the 0 positions need to light up. I drag a plot code block under the LED into this if code block. Let x be 0 and y be 0 as well. Okay, the next step is to correctly guess the number of degrees and increase the score by rotating the microbit to that angle. Here, since it is difficult to guess the relevant angle correctly, let's consider the angle that is guessed 5 degrees less or more than the angle to the correct answer. I will drag an if code block under the logic down from this if-else code block into this forever code block. Here, let's connect a code block with the AND sign under logic for the condition. Drag a code block with the equal sign under logic to the left side of the AND sign. Click on the arrow in front of the equal sign and select the larger than sign. Drag the compass heading code block under input to the left side of the larger than sign. Let's drag a code block with the minus sign in math to the right side of the larger than sign. Let's drag an Xcode block in the variables to the left side of the minus sign. Type 5 to the right side of the minus sign. In this way, you need to create the code to the right side of the AND sign. Let's duplicate this code block for that. I right-click on this section and give duplicate. Let's drag the duplicated code block to the right side with the AND sign and change the required places. Here, click on the arrow in front of the minus sign and select the plus sign. Okay. Now, if the angle that rotates the microbit is within the range of 5 degrees less or more than the angle assigned in X, then the correct sign should be displayed and the score should increase by 1. Let's drag a show icon code block under basics into this if code block. Select the right sign for the icon. Now let's drag a change score by 1 code block under variables here. And because the score needs to be displayed, a show number code block in basics is dragged like this. Let's connect a score code block in the variables here. Next, the game needs to start from the beginning. Let's start the game by randomly assigning degrees in X as before. For that, I drag a set score to code block under variables. Click on the arrow in front of score and select X. Drag a pick random code block in math for the value here. Let's give the value as 0 and 360. Now a clear screen block in the basics is dragged here. Also at the start of the game, a message called Go should be displayed. For this, a show string code block under basics is dragged here. Let's give the text as Go. Okay, now we have finished creating the Mark the Spot game. You can also run this project through a microbit device and play the game. If you made it in this way, you little ones are very talented. If you want to share this project, click the second share button on the upper right side of the interface and click on the Publish to Share button here. Now you can copy and share this link. To see the creation you made, WhatsApp it to the number note 7681125244. Tell your friends about the creation as well. Send it to me and send it to your friends to see this app. And one more thing, you too can join the DP Coding School Telegram group. Try to be the DP Code Champ Best of the Week once every week. For that, keep in touch with us. And one more thing, join our DP Coding Club and now you can start a DP Coding Club in your school. We are ready to provide all the guidance for that. If you want to start a DP Coding Club in any school where computer labs are available, make a request through the principal to the email address info@dpcc.lk. So let's meet with another interesting lesson through DP Coding School. Have a nice day.